Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into a filing from Wolfspeed, and let me tell you, it's a bit of a wild ride. Think of it as a company trying to build a super fast race car while simultaneously dealing with a flat tire and a looming debt payment. Intrigued? Let's get into it. Before we start, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below for more discussion. So on May 22, 2025, Wolfspeed, a company that makes things like silicon carbide and gallium nitride materials, which are useful in electric cars and other things, announced some big changes. The main point of this filing is about the appointment of a new executive, but tucked away are some important updates about their financial situation, so we will focus on that. First off, let's talk about the new executive, David Emerson. He's been appointed as Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer, which means he'll be in charge of the day-to-day operations of the company. He is responsible for making sure everything runs smoothly. He has a long history with the company, having worked there previously when it was known as Cree Inc. Now, about his compensation, Emerson is getting a base salary of $500,000 per year. He's also eligible for a performance bonus, which could be another $500,000 if he hits all his targets. And he is also getting some stock options, which could be quite valuable if the company does well. These stock options give him the right to buy shares of the company's stock at a set price, incentivizing him to help the stock price go up. Specifically, he is getting restricted stock units worth $1 million that will vest over 4 years, meaning he will get them slowly over that time, and stock options also valued at $1 million. Plus, starting later this year, he'll get more stock grants annually, including performance stock units that could be worth up to $1.2 million. This is a pretty big package, so they are clearly betting on him to turn things around. Okay, so let's dig into the more concerning part of this report. Their financial outlook. Wolfspeed is saying they are aiming to have positive cash flow by fiscal year 2027. This means they expect to be making more money than they are spending in 2 years. However, there's a catch. The company intends to enter a 30-day grace period for an interest payment that was due June 2, 2025. This is a big red flag. A grace period is basically an extension to pay a debt, which suggests they are struggling to meet their current financial obligations. Missing debt payments can have serious consequences, including potentially leading to bankruptcy. They are aiming for an adjusted EBITDA break-even point at $800 million in revenue on an annualized basis and positive unlevered operating cash flow of around $200 million in fiscal year 2026. EBITDA is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Adjusted EBITDA is a further modified version of that. Companies will use adjusted EBITDA is a further modified version of that. Companies will use adjusted EBITDA to look better, so it is important to keep that in mind. And this $800 million is also quite a ways off. They are relying on growth to get there. To try and get there, they are making some moves to cut costs, and this includes things like closing their North Carolina fab, which is a factory. This kind of move might help them in the long run by saving money, but it can also be a sign that they are struggling in the short term. These cost-cutting initiatives can be painful, involving layoffs and restructuring, which can affect employee morale and productivity. The company is also hoping to get some money from the government and from a secured lending facility, but their plans don't rely on those things. That's good because government funding can be uncertain. Wolfspeed says it is in discussions with lenders about finding a comprehensive solution to support its long-term growth plan. That is not great. They are basically trying to renegotiate their debts. It is not ideal to be in this position, but it's also better than just ignoring the problem. Finally, let's talk about some risks they mention in the report. They include economic uncertainty, problems with their expansion plans, trouble getting additional funding, and issues with their supply chain. Those are all things that could impact their ability to achieve their goals, so there are risks involved. Also, if they can't predict customer demand or they have issues with manufacturing, that could hurt their sales and profits. They also have risks related to competition, international sales, and the possibility of cyber attacks. So just like everyone else, there are a lot of potential things that could go wrong. Now, let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Wolfspeed is in a tricky situation. On one hand, they have a new executive who's supposed to help turn things around. The company is trying to cut costs and become more efficient, which are generally good moves. But on the other hand, they are struggling to pay their debts and are relying on future growth to become profitable. So are they going to pull this off? It depends on how well they can execute their plans, manage their costs, and navigate the risks they face. It's not a slam dunk. They still have a lot to prove. Alright, that's our breakdown of Wolfspeed's latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.